friends, this is my November reading vlog. Enjoy. I already started reading my books for November because I didn't realize it was November, so that was an oopsie on my part. First thing I actually did is swap out Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, which was for the letter picker wheel prompt. So I had a letter picker wheel choose a letter and it was an H. So that's how I got this book. Then my sister's book arrived, How to Start Your Business by Anya Bośniak. And basically I decided that I'm gonna read my sister's book because I've been promising to her forever, and obviously my sister takes priority. So I actually really enjoyed this book. I already finished it. I had to annotate it. This is a disclaimer. Just because she's my sister, I don't give high reviews, okay? If anything, I'm being more critical because I feel like if I say that this is my sister's book, people are immediately gonna be like, oh yeah, she's biased, she has to, you know, say nice things because it's her sister's book. But no, this book gives you an overview of two platforms, Upwork and Freelancer. And she is a ghostwriter who writes books for other people, and she also writes books for herself, and then she also does a million other things. And she's built this amazing business over the past few years. And I've been there since the beginning, watching her grow. But I had no idea when I was reading this book how much experience she has, how much she has learned, how many courses she's taken. Just wow, I have no idea about her business at all. I found it to be really, really good. There are a couple of things here that kind of hit close to home because she is a ghostwriter, so she shared this. She said, as an aspiring writer myself, it was hard to accept that I have to give the entire story to someone else. I couldn't even mention to my family that it was me who wrote it. That just hurt. And then she writes, I started imagining myself as a carpenter. They build beds, but they don't sleep on them once they're sold. If they wanted to get paid for every time the bed was used, they'd have to go into a hotel business. Which is true. If you want to earn money from writing your own books, you have to open your own publishing or your own bookstore, and then you'd earn money. My job was to write a book, get paid while writing it, and then move on to the next one. It was and still is the only way to do this job. Oh my god, it hits close to home. And then there's a lot of other things that she shares, like her first experience getting a review on Freelancer, on Upwork, and she literally took cheapest job she could get just so that she would get a review, and it was somebody paying her $5 Australian, and then they passed her work on to the next person and they got 400 Australian dollars for it. Business books couldn't be so boring, but she put so many experiences into it and shared stories. It inspired me actually. So yeah, I finished it today and it was for the letter picker wheel, so technically I have already one prompt finished. I will put this back on my TBR shelf because I do still want to get to this eventually. Another prompt that I am switching out is apocalyptic. I'm switching from this book, The Way We Fall, to Last Day on Mars. Now the reason behind the switch is that I started reading it last month or this month, I don't know when I started reading it basically, and it fits this prompt, so I'm just gonna switch it out and then I'm gonna put this back onto the TBR pile. I'm 202 pages into this. I will come back when I actually have a review to give. Time to check in. I finished reading Last Day on Mars by Kevin Emerson. This is the first book in the Chronicle of a Dark Star series or trilogy. It is a middle grade book, science fiction about the humans on Mars who have to flee Mars because the sun is about to explode basically. And so it describes their last day on Mars, preparing the final details before they leave on this giant ship towards a new planet that was discovered like so far away. And they will spend years in stasis, which is just basically hibernation without aging, as far as I understood. And yeah, and it involves time travel, conspiracy, spies, or like sabotage, assassins. I don't know how I would rate it, because there was half of this book that I didn't understand. It was very science fiction-y. I didn't understand what was going on. There was a red line that I followed throughout this that I enjoyed overall. I did consider in the middle of it DNFing because it was very boring, but I'm glad I stuck through. I'm not gonna continue with the trilogy, even though a part of me really wants to, because I'm itching to know what is going on and what happens and how things go, because this is really action-packed. But there are other books that I would rather read right now. So also I don't want to, now that Book Depository is gone, I don't think that I will be buying books on Amazon, because Amazon is really expensive and there's no books around me that, or bookstores around me that will carry the second or third book. So I'm not gonna go out of my way to order books that I currently have not enough interest in reading. Part of me wants to finish this trilogy, but I already read the reviews on Goodreads and that makes me really satisfied. 3.5 stars. It was a really solid read. It is November 21st, and after finishing How to Start Your Business, I almost said How to Train Your Dragon, and Last Day on Mars, I also finished 2 other books. One is For Reminds You of a Pet prompt, and it was One True Loves, and this book is just pain. I rated it 3.25 stars. It is about this girl Emma who in high school has this crush on the swim captain Jesse, and she for a while is completely invisible to him for a few years, and then suddenly fate brings them together and they fall in love and they get married, and then his helicopter crashes and he dies. She grieves heavily, and it's such a heavy book that you have to take breaks while reading it. But then life brings her to one of her high school friends and they reconnect and they fall in love and she gets engaged. And then Jesse comes back because they find him and he's alive. So she's married and engaged. This book is pain. And it's so heavy that I think I'm gonna give it to my sister, just because the cover is beautiful and it's beautifully written. Taylor Jenkins Reid, just always amazing. But I just cannot have this on my shelf, and that's why it goes to my sister. But damn, 3.25 stars. It is beautiful, but I don't want to read it again. And then for my OGYA prompts, I also picked up Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I read like 400 pages of it. I really enjoyed this one. I rated it 3.75 stars because there were parts, it was difficult to get into at the beginning, because the beginning for me is always hard to get into. We follow different characters, but then it kind of reconnects to the first book. And the way I love reading these books is because they're sci-fi. Obviously you have to read them in physical, but I also love to have them in audiobook as well, to simultaneously read them together, because it just provides a different, more immersive experience. And this book is just, I loved it. It has plot twists. It got good, especially towards the 75% mark. It got really good, to the point that I didn't want to put it down. I'm happy. Now, I did have a Kindle prompt and I put it back in the stack of prompts, because I don't think that I will be reading my Kindle anytime soon, because it's dying on me and I don't want to read on my phone. It is completely lagging and I need to get a new Kindle, but I'm not gonna get a Kindle. I'm gonna get a Kobo Libra Color, because I just heard so many good things about it, and after what I've experienced with my Kindle, I just don't want a Kindle anymore. I want something else, a different e-reader, you know. I'm gonna save up for that one. How to Start Your Business was also the prompt for the nonfiction, and that's filled out. Now I can read whatever I want. I already fulfilled my first bonus prompt, which was Last Day on Mars, and I'm not gonna pick up a cover buy just because I want to mood read, and when I mood read, I read a lot of books, and I don't want that to hinder my reading experience. I don't want to force myself to read something that I don't want to. I already fulfilled my TBR, and that is perfect. Like the actual prompts that I needed to fulfill, I did. What I'm reading now is Waking Gods, which is the second book in the Themis Files, and I loved the first one. It was called Sleeping Giants. So I always wanted to continue the series. I never really have the time for it, but right now I want to continue series that I've already started, just to kind of tie off loose ends. I have so many series that I've started, so many series that I want to continue, and this is a perfect time for me to do so, for me to just dive in and finish or continue series that I have left, because I think I read the first book either last year or the year before, and I'm enjoying the audiobook so much. If I'm not remembering the first book correctly, let me know. But it's about this group of scientists who, there was this robot or alien giant that was discovered, and they're trying to learn how to move it, learn how to control it, I would say. It brings out a lot of people like wondering, what do these aliens want? Should we even do this? Should we mess with this alien technology that is clearly so superior to ours? And then in the second book, it's also about like this first giant probably being so antiquated. The second one that they found is now probably even more modern, and if the aliens come eventually, they will probably, you know, have even more developed technology. And everybody's wondering, why are they hiding here? Or are they hiding? Why did these giants emerge now? And what does this mean for humanity? And it's a lot, and I'm enjoying it. It's an adventure. With that being said, I'm gonna finish this video because I've only planned on talking about the actual prompts that I had. If I have different books that I will finish, that I want to talk to you about, I will let you know. The prompts are finished and I'm happy.